Hello, Husker fans, and welcome to a very special edition of Generation Red, a Husker podcast, in which I'm apparently flying solo.
They don't have him yet. Look at Tommy Frazier. How many tackles can one man break? Cross to the middle. Juggle. Diving touchdown, Nebraska.
Well, here we are, hanging out in my living room. I'm off the road for, tonight, and then back at it tomorrow, but thought I'd do a quick live stream to talk about the big news that hit over the last couple days, and that would be from the Pac-12, the University of Southern California and UCLA joining the Big Ten starting in 2024. To say that this was a bombshell, to me, would not be exactly honest. We all knew this is exactly where college football was going. The Super Conference is now upon us. The slow but painful death of college football, as those of us in my age bracket knew it to be, is accelerating rapidly. And while I don't really, truly like it all that much, I understand it. I understand with the advent of the transfer portal, with the beginning of NIL and all those things that have basically dismantled the amateurism that is what marked college football and is basically now transforming it into, well, what else can we call it except a semi-pro league that is meant to feed the NFL with its players and pay them along the way. So it is what it is. We're going where we're going. I'm not a huge fan of it, but as a Husker fan, hey, I wouldn't mind going to California once in a while to watch the team play. Or wait a minute. No, that means I would go to California. Nah, scratch that. Not happening. But it'd be pretty cool to see USC and UCLA show up in Husker land, probably once a year. I mean, what do you guys think? I am not exactly sure what this is going to look like. How many more teams will the Big Ten add to their slate? Are we going to stop at 16 here? Because the SEC seems to be in a holding pattern with 16 teams of their own, but you can't tell me that they're not getting some phone calls from the likes of Clemson, Florida State, or Miami, even about adding 3, maybe 4 more teams to the vaunted SEC. And then what else is the Big Ten going to do at that point, right? You've got to get Notre Dame in the fold. You can't let the ACC have them, or God forbid the SEC have Notre Dame. They really need to be in with us. And then who else after that? You know, we've heard talk of Washington. We've heard talk of possibly even Oregon. While I like those two because, well, Washington really isn't Washington these days, and Oregon is, well, it's started playing a little bit more of a Big Ten brand of football over the last couple of years with Mario Cristobal, who's now departed for Coral Gables and that wonderful Miami cocaine program. So where do we go from here? That's really the question. Are we going to stick at 16? Are we going to have a pod system where there's 4 teams in a pod and there's 4 pods and the pods all play each other every year, and then we rotate teams out of the other pods into play every year? And does this mean that UCLA and USC are going to have to do the exact same thing that Nebraska had to do in its first 11 years in the conference, which was play Ohio State for 8 of those 11 years? Seems only fair that anybody who comes into the conference, you know, another storied program, perhaps like a UCLA or USC, because, you know, the excuse we heard was, well, Nebraska brings eyeballs to the table. Nebraska also travels well. So there was a lot of red in those stands in Columbus that weren't of the Ohio State ilk. So, yeah, we had to play them 8 times in 11 years. 8. Nobody else had to play Ohio State 8 times in the last 11 years, except for the teams on their side of the conference. So it would seem to be only fair that Ohio State would have to fly out to USC or UCLA at least 4 times in the first 11 years that they play in the conference, right? Wouldn't that make sense? I mean, it's only fair. But who knows? We don't know what's going to happen. What I do know for sure is indeed the demise of what we knew as college football growing up. For most of us that love this team, it will be no more. It's going the way of the dodo, if you will. And eventually, what we enjoyed as the pageantry of college football will become, well, all about the dollars. And we knew it was going that way years ago when the BCS showed up, when ESPN basically bought the rights to just about everything that was good about college football. And the monopoly known as Disney, Time Warner, or whatever that conglomeration is that now owns ESPN and ABC and all that stuff. We knew the money was going to start doing the talking a lot more so than the tradition and the pageantry and the school spirit, quite frankly, that surrounded college football. And to me, that's a shame.